The next morning he saw Albert pass and repass, holding an enormous bouquet, which he doubtless meant to make the bearer of his amorous epistle. This belief was changed into certainty when Franz saw the bouquet, conspicuous by a circle of white camellias, in the hand of a charming harlequin dressed in rose-colored satin. The evening was no longer joy, but delirium. Albert nothing doubted but that the fair unknown would reply in the same manner. Franz anticipated his wishes by saying that the noise fatigued him, and that he should pass the next day in writing and looking over his journal. Albert was not deceived, for the next evening Franz saw him enter triumphantly, shaking a folded paper which he held by one corner. "Well," said he, "was I mistaken?" "She has answered you," cried Franz. "Read." This word was pronounced in a manner impossible to describe. Franz took the letter and read. "Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. Descend from your carriage opposite the Via dei Pontefici, and follow the Roman peasant who snatches your torch from you. When you arrive at the first step of the church of San Giacomo, be sure to fasten a knot of rose-colored ribbons to the shoulder of your harlequin costume, in order that you may be recognized. Until then, you will not see me. Constancy and discretion." "Well," asked he, when Franz had finished, "what do you think of that?" "I think that the adventure is assuming a very agreeable appearance." "I think so also," replied Albert, "and I very much fear you will go alone to the Duke of Bracciano's ball." Franz and Albert had received that morning an invitation from the celebrated Roman banker. "Take care, Albert," said Franz. "All the nobility of Rome will be present, and if your fair incognita belong to the higher class of society, she must go there. Whether she goes there or not, my opinion is still the same," returned Albert. "You have read the letter?" Okay, all right. I see who Albert is here. Oh my God. Jeez, oh Pete's. Let's just say, listen, I've really had a roller coaster with Albert, and I'll say this: I don't wish him any harm. I would not be friends with him in real life. He just is this type of guy who is impossible to please, and then once he is, he's all snooty and condescending about it, and I don't know, man. Whatever. I'm glad he's having fun. One thing I noticed, though, in today's passage, it's just another indication, another flavor and variance of everything that Dumas is doing in many other ways in this story, but all the juxtapositions he has, I don't know if juxtapositions is the right word, maybe echoes, where Franz, overhearing Dante and Vampa, I still don't remember if I confirmed it was Vampa or if it was just me speculating out loud. It's a problem with speculating. Suddenly it becomes memory and I change everything. Ay. Whatever. Dante talking to the Transteverin in the Colosseum, all these kind of clandestine meetings and secret communication methods, on the one hand, have a darker side, if we want to call it that. But then Albert is going through this, and it's kind of the same stuff, notes passed and signals given, but it's all for fun and flirtation now. Or is it? Is this woman on the payroll of Dante? God dang, the story has me... I've been burned so many times. Okay, you know what? Okay, let me. I'm going to take a step back. This is Behind the Veil, Landon just resetting how he's interacting with this story. We're going to do this in real time, folks. Okay, if I were reading this book alone and I came upon that thought, is the woman flirting with Albert in the service of Dante for some bigger scheme? How would I interact with that thought? Because the act of doing this podcast is forcing me to comment upon it, stretch that out over page after page after page in such a slow motion that my reaction, my mental capacity for it changes. So if I had that thought while just reading it, I guess I would just kind of like subconsciously log that in the back of my head, going, oh, I wonder if that's what's going on. But then I wouldn't feel the need to comment on it. Because I'm not doing a podcast when I'm reading silently to myself. Okay, so then what do we do with that on the podcast? If I don't want to speculate, And these questions arise. I guess I could just ask them out loud and not go further into them. Wow, folks, sorry, you're getting a real nuts and bolts how this podcast is made look today. Didn't mean that when I pressed record, but here we are. The question just is, who is this woman? Is she part of this fun and games that Albert is having, or is there some larger conspiracy at play? I don't think it's totally out of the realm to suspect that. Dumas has set up enough now, particularly in those parallels that I was talking about. You know, how is this much different than Dante giving Morel's daughter a note on the stairs on his way out saying you're going to be contacted by, well, I guess he didn't give her the note then, but he did tell her you will be contacted by a man named Sinbad the Sailor, and then eventually she gets a note from Sinbad the Sailor telling her exactly what to do. It's kind of the same. So is this from the same bag of tricks of Dante, or is this just something Dumas likes to do? Or both? Perhaps both. I will say, I really love the word incognita to describe this kind of misconnection or mystery attraction you have to someone. Like, oh, there's that person I keep seeing, but I don't know anything about her. Or that, you know, she's literally in disguise. And that she can sign this note, Constancy and Discretion, as if that's her name. I was going to say, like, Sleepless in Seattle, but Constancy and Discretion sounds like an erotic thriller from the 90s, which has a totally different vibe than what I was going for. But in this era of stranger danger, this is something that just doesn't exist anymore. I don't think you can have secret admirers and not immediately go, uh-oh, is this something I got to monitor? Do I have to alert the police and get a paper trail going for all of the bizarre interactions I'm about to have? Okay, where am I? I don't even know where I'm at anymore. I went so many directions in this episode. Okay, how about this one? We'll end with this thought that they got an invitation to a ball held by a celebrated banker, a Duke of Bracciano. I do like Franz's, I don't know if it's a little dig or not, but he's saying that at this ball, like, go do what you want, Albert. Go have your little tryst with this woman. But, you know, at this party, all of the nobility, like the who's who of Rome is going to be there. So if your incognita is of the higher class, she's going to be there anyway. Who do we think this can be? Maybe a stranger, maybe a new character. And you know what? I would welcome a female character on the show. Outside of Countess G, we really haven't had any. We had a smidge of Mercedes early on. We had a little tiny flavor of Teresa in Vampa's backstory. Well, that's about it. So I'm hoping this is someone new that we can learn and get to know. But we won't until we continue to read a little bit more. So join me here tomorrow. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.